Gravity Falls, a show of humor, mystery, and casual viewing. Unless you're me. My name is Christian. You're probably wondering why I'm dressed as Dipper Pines and about to rewatch the entire series. Rest assured, there's a perfectly logical explanation.
Alright, now we move on to Irrational Treasure. This is another fun episode. This is definitely inspired by National Treasure, where the whole premise is that Dipper and Mabel pretty much find out that Nathaniel Northwest was actually not the founder of Gravity Falls, and they kind of have this whole National Treasure inspired hunt to find out who's the actual founder of Gravity Falls. This is the episode where we actually get introduced to Preston and Priscilla Northwest, who are Pacifica Northwest's parents. Are definitely really fun characters who will definitely get more episodes later down the line. We also get introduced to a brand new character named the Woodpecker Guy, who's literally just a guy with a woodpecker on his shoulder. And he brings up that back in the pioneer days that it was legal for people to marry woodpeckers. And he'll definitely be a recurring character as the show goes on. And then as the story goes on, the main conflict that we have is that Pacifica pretty much tells Mabel that she's too silly and that Mabel's always trying to be serious. And then as their kind of mission goes on to uncover this plot, Mabel actually kind of uses her silliness to figure out these different kind of like puzzles that Dipper's trying to figure out. And then we also get the mention of the name the Mystery Twins, which Seuss dubs onto Dipper and Mabel. Dipper doesn't really care for it, but it's something that, will be brought up later down the line, and, something that, the fans just call Dipper and Mabel Mystery Twins and everything. And yeah, they might not be the only Mystery Twins that we will learn about as the series goes on. So that was a good little hint of what's to come. There's also a really fun subplot with Stan, because of the fact that he hates Pioneer Day, and the fact that he doesn't play along with pretending that everyone's back in Pioneer times. And he just thinks everybody's crazy. So they punish him by putting him in the stocks. And he's kind of in there for the rest of the episode. And during one of the scenes, we get reintroduced to the character of Gideon. We kind of continue the rivalry that was set up between them in Hand That Rocks and Mabel. And we also get a bunch of different locations, like the Gravity Falls Natural History Museum, the Gravity Falls Library, the Gravity Falls Cemetery. And then kind of as their story goes on, the twins kind of uncover the secret room within the cemetery, and they find out about the Northwest cover-up, which is basically that Nathaniel Northwest was not the founder of Gravity Falls, but it was actually a character named Quentin Tremblay, who was the 8.5 president of the United States. But his presidency was ended because, he was just so crazy and everything. There's like a numerous list of things that he did that was controversial that, you can just read the wiki and just go into that. But the reason why the town is called Gravity Falls is because he was riding a horse backwards and then fell off the cliff and then realized that, gravity was falling. So he called the town Gravity Falls. So I think that was really funny. And then also within the Northwest cover-up document, we also get a mention of Time Baby, and Time Baby will become a major character as the series goes on. But it's kind of cool to get this little kind of blink and you miss it reference in there for sure. And then the characters realize that Quentin Tremblay is actually still alive and that he encased himself into a solid block of peanut brittle, which is kind of like a reference to Han Solo being trapped in carbonite. He's like all trapped in the block like Han was. And then we also kind of get more of Sheriff Lubbs and Deputy Derlin, and they're kind of like on Dipper and Mabel's trail, trying to stop them from uncovering this whole plot. They eventually catch up with them and then take them onto a train that'll take them to Washington, D.C., where nothing will get out. And then Dipper and Mabel will kind of have like an all is lost moment. And they're sitting in the train car wondering what they're going to do. And then Mabel thinks to herself, so she kind of absentmindedly grabs a piece of peanut brittle from the Quentin Tremblay block and then starts eating it. And then a bunch of cracks start to appear in the block and fall away, actually freeing Quentin Tremblay. But then, of course, Quentin Tremblay and Mabel kind of like use their silliness in order to break out of this kind of wood crate that they're kind of boxed into. And they put their finger through one of the holes, and a woodpecker flies in and then pecks the box open, so then they're freed. And then Sheriff Lubbs and Deputy Derlin try to confront the group, but then Quentin Tremblay has this rule where he says that he never resigned from the presidency, so he's technically still president. So he kind of orders Lubbs and Derlin, to kind of go off on a vacation and kind of let them go free. So then they have to listen to him because he's still technically the president. So again, kind of going into the silliness of everything with Quentin Tremblay. So then Quentin Tremblay thanks the twins for the help. He gives them these different gifts. Gives Dipper the president's key, which, spoiler alert, never gets brought up again in the series. But if you read Lost Legends, that finally gets paid off. But he finally does use the key to unlock the stocks to free Stan at the end of the episode. Quentin Tremblay gives Dipper a negative $12 bill, and on that bill you see a little triangle character with one eye, kind of referencing the Eye of Providence on an actual dollar bill. But then, that symbol will definitely become very important as the show goes on. And, it's like a negative $20 bill. So it's like, it's not only worthless, but it's less than worthless. So I think that was funny for sure. Also on the negative $20 bill, there's a serial number on it. And if you group the numbers into pairs and add up the sums of the digits within those pairs, you get 2, 12, 9, 14, 4. And if you match the number with the position in the alphabet, it translates to the word blind, which will definitely become important later on in the series. And then gives Mabel Mabel kind of like this like top hat, and then lets her be like a congresswoman and everything. So again, just like a fun episode. Ends with Dipper and Mabel discovering the truth, but obviously the Northwest family are like so rich, they won't really even care if Dipper and Mabel know the truth, and it won't really change anything. But the fact that Dipper kind of has this over Pacifica of like how our family are frauds and how revenge is kind of like underrated and everything is like the theme of the episodes. We also get a cryptogram at the end, which translates to E pluribus trimly, which in Latin translates to out of many trimly, which is a reference to E pluribus unum, which translates to out of many one. So I think that was pretty funny as well. But yeah, overall fun episode, funny episode, and a lot of silliness involved, a lot of like cool national treasure hunt mystery involved, and a good setup for a lot of things that will come later down the line.